Hello and welcome. My name's Jordan Dorgran, and this is the Wing Chun Qigong channel. Today, I'm going to reply back to James. Thanks for reaching out in the new year. Happy New Year. James has asked, "Do you do energy healing as well?" And I'm going to just talk about the different healing that is involved in Wing Chun Qigong, um, parts that I practice, parts that I've been taught but don't practice, and all those sorts of things. Um, I would say, firstly, um, a lot of people in society, um, encounter getting injured and different types of pain and suffering and so forth. Um, Something that happened on my journey was overtraining in the martial arts, and it led to severe chronic pain on a 9 out of 10 scale, day in, day out. It was really horrific, really terrible time in my life. At that time, I had, trained martial arts extensively. I was training martial qigong, and it just all it all built up where I had a shoulder issue and a hip issue, but those spread. That pain went throughout my whole body. I tried a number of modalities, everything from massage, acupuncture, dry needling, cupping, um, physiotherapy, chiropractic. Um, I went to a GP, got a whole bunch of scans done. I sought treatments in both South Korea and in Australia. I don't know what it's called, but they have this big needle and they stick it in your hip and they draw out the fluids that are in your bone marrow, and then they cycle it around and inject it back into you again. Whole bunch of stuff. You name it, I've probably had it done, and none of it helped. None of it that I had done really reduced that pain at all. I probably got it best down to a 7. You know. Um, Now, the last thing I decided to do before it actually worked was it's called um, pakda. All right, and it is a technique that really it I've seen it from Shaolin, and but the person who did the technique to me was located in Perth, and I've also attended their training course and got the certificates. But more than that, I also flew over to Borneo and met the teacher who taught him. And I spent 2 weeks with him. He treated me probably 2 to 3 hours a day, I think. Can't really do more than that. It's like getting a tattoo. So I had like bruises on my body from here all the way down. And yeah, I also went out and helped him, which I loved doing, to the farmlands of Borneo, helping all the farmers. Because those guys are so strong, carrying stuff, chopping wood, doing this, doing that. They have more aches and pains than, say, you in an office job, right? So it was great to go out there, and I knew that this thing worked. So my pain dropped from, as I said, 9 out of 10, whatever it was, all the way down to about a 3 on like the first treatment. Came back and had a second treatment, and then I always had something niggly in my shoulder, but the pain wasn't there. It was just like niggly, and that's why I went over and did the Borneo thing. I would have to say, from all of that, I do live pain free now. But I do have. You're human. You run into things where you wake up and you're stiff, you're sore, um, or things flare up and then come back down again. So yeah, like that's completely normal. But the chronic pain's gone. And so the first thing I wanted to say is that itself is a huge part of the healing aspect that I have in Wing Chun Qigong. Even though it wasn't taught, hold on, the teacher in Borneo knew some Wing Chun from that lineage over there. And, it did come originally. He doesn't claim it comes from Shaolin. I'm not sure how he discovered it, but nonetheless, it works, right? And because it works, it's in. All right, so that one's very, very specific. I wouldn't even say specific. It's specific that it addresses chronic pain that nothing else can fix. Yeah. And but then there's other things where you can have pain that builds up. You'd get it, just probably from the way you've been seated, the way you slept, the food you eat, actually the toxins that go into your body. Good chance the emotional traumas that go in there too potentially play a part. But mostly these are toxins within the body because you can see them when they come out. And so it doesn't just have to be chronic pain. It can be things like tightness, and you just can't. It's like I have a massage and I can never get rid of this thing. It's stuck with me. Not really. You can get rid of it. All right. So that isn't, we can call that energy healing. Why? Well, when we use the bamboo stick, there is a certain way that it is tapped and used that it's providing heat and energy below the layers of your epidermal skin to penetrate deeply to where those toxins are, breaking those toxins down to a liquid format so they can then be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. They're stuck in there, which is causing you tightness and pain in your muscular and fascia tissues. All right, enough of that one. So there's that. That's pretty straightforward. The other part of the healing that is in Wing Chun has to do with techniques that I've seen both in Qigong, um, like we'll talk specifically breathing techniques in Qigong, Indian pranayama, and also Tibetan yoga as well. They are in there, um, and these are other techniques that pressurize your body to remove toxins from within. I did see an author once talk about how these techniques are preventative to cancer forming in your body. It's kind of a funny one in that, can you prove that via scientific methods? Don't know. But I don't, so I don't want to make that claim. Does it? Does it not? Um, it's a it's something that was told to me, and it's also something I've read separately. But I need to see if there are any scientific studies out there to back that up. Going forward from that, moving into the qi gong, and the energy healing from that. There is a piece when we move from the Jing Gong course of building enough vitality in your body that you can now go through the Jin door into the Qi door, that you are in a position that you have set the framework of your structure and can run energy through your body. This itself does produce healing and greater health and increases vitality. It does this by stimulating your nervous and endocrine system and balancing out both systems. So you have other differing effects that come from this, such as your mood and your behavior. And I can vouch for that just from my personal experience, just like how I can vouch for the Pak Shah treatments and so forth. There are specific Qigong that is done on each organ of the body. These are ancient techniques, and we need to. Do I want to package these with the other ones? I think, okay. There is a specific technique that I can give you, but if you did it, it probably wouldn't work. So, does it not work? It's not that it doesn't work. It's just that you need to have all the primers done. And then once you've got all those foundations locked in, you practice the technique from that place, and then it works. And another aspect of that is why I've got that Shen Gong course in there, because it's the one that trains the mind. Once you can get your concentration to a certain level, it's that level that then it's like rubbing two sticks together. If you just, you're just like this, you're never going to create a fire, are you? But if you can really drive it home, or there's a way you use it with bands and so forth, it ignites the fire. having the concentrative power of mind is, the friction of the sticks that's required to produce the result. Something else to go with that is qigong healing that we do see in Reiki. Uh, so this is something I don't generally teach. I kind of talk about it and say, hey, you just basically do this and this, but I don't do the empowerments or any of that sort of stuff. It's not something that has been a huge interest for me because I'm not saying it doesn't work. As I mentioned before, the chiropractic and the acupuncture and all those sort of things never worked on me. And this wouldn't have worked either, to my understanding, um, unless I'd gotten my mind to that place that allowed me to then perform that technique to produce the healing. Um, it's pretty difficult, probably, to get your mind in that space when you're in extreme amounts of pain, because you're just engulfed with the pain that's going on, and then that's triggering other emotions within you. So that brings me to the last piece of emotional healing. Very recently, this year, I restarted a type of I Qigong, but I incorporated other things in it. And by balancing those, um, I've been able to improve the vision of each eye by over 100 points. And I have this empirically tested from my results. The last time I got it done was 2019, and I just got it done 31st of December. I have the results right here on this piece of paper. So they didn't put the original results, but if people don't believe me, I mean, I think if I said, "Oh, I have 20/20 vision," I'd be lying. No, I was pretty nearsighted, and I've reduced that by, I think one was 125 points, and the other eye was 150 points. So that's awesome. So I know that that works. But why it works is to do with what I'm pointing at: this ability to get into this meditative state. From that state, also clear away these blockages that are within your body, to dissolve them away, to dissolve them into the light, so to speak. It is my understanding, and this also goes back to the foundational teachings of the Taoists and from traditional Chinese medicine, that you get healing when you allow the energy to flow. And in this case, it appears that these emotional blockages are inhibiting the work of the Qigong technique. And so if people themselves don't have those blockages and perform the technique, they will get results. But the people who have these blockages perform the technique and say it doesn't work. So that's why I have all of it in the course. So there you go. That's the type of healing I've practiced, I've been taught, that has worked for me. And uh, I use that to teach. I'm just trying to remember which course I'll put it in. Probably, well, it's in all of them because I teach different parts. But when we talk about like classic energy healing, where people are laying hands on the other partner and those sorts of things, there is a part in the Qigong course. It's not something I practice. And I really think it's probably something that's most beneficial once you can achieve those meditative states, for one. And those who are more inclined to extrasensory ability, they have a heightened sense of kinesthetic awareness in feeling, and they have a heightened sense of sight, that they can see the different edges of the spectrum that most people block out. And they also can have it with their nose, they can smell those sorts of things. And so once you're able to raise the vibrational frequency of your chi and are able to reach that meditative state, it's my understanding that these things kick in. And I found personally that I've reached certain levels that allow for this healing to take place. If you don't reach those levels, it's not happening. All right, hope that helps explain what's involved in some of these courses. Please like and subscribe if it makes sense, and see you later.